Oh, what was this for? I forgot.
Airbnb.
Oh, that's right. Okay, one thing I might do when you're doing a road like this.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I think they're all locked.
Oh, okay. Like I usually, if I'm going to do this kind of thing, just to make it a little more interesting. Let's say this is my Skya. Oops, I didn't want that. I'm going to go to my gradient. Get rid of this line. Go to my gradient. Okay, what's it doing? Oh, that's why. God damn it. Hang on. I just want to get a sky in here. Okay, here we go. What's that tapping? Hey, you, Josh?
I don't think so. I am typing, but I don't think that was me.
What are you typing?
I just had to write up some notes.
Okay, so what I do with this probably is just to make it a little more interesting is I might put, it's actually easier if I would have just drawn it. Is that a typewriter or a telegraph? Sounds like somebody sending Morse code.
Yeah, that one was definitely not me.
Somebody's sitting there going. So I'm just going to half-ass this, okay?
All right.
That doesn't mean you half-ass it. I'm going to flip this. Okay, this drives me crazy. There's nobody's mic who's on. Oh, well. My computer's doing weird shit today. Hang on. Okay, so let's say I got a couple of hills here. I would probably do the road more like this.
Okay.
Because it's a little more interesting looking. And I would just make this with the Pathfinder tool. I'm not doing it right now, but.
Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I'll go, damn it. Then I'll go. What the hell am I doing here? Hang on. That's annoying. There. Why is it doing that? This whole morning I've been having all kinds of weird screw ups. Okay, so let's try this. Wouldn't necessarily fade it, but I might. I kind of like it. That's an accident, but I kind of like it. And then I might have another road come out here. And I wouldn't fade that one like that. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this one actually should go more like, more over to here. You know, so then they're kind of coming out, rolling over the hill. So it's a little more dynamic. And then this kind of thing. And then another thing is when I do blacktop, I wouldn't do black. It just, when you punch, you know, I'd actually find a nice, I'd probably find a nice muted, because asphalt can go to all sorts of different colors. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. And then this, I'd make sure that it's a nice, that's a little bit greenish. I'd make sure it's a little more on the orangey side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then this, now, you know, I could go maybe,
Okay.
so let's go, try the skew. I'm just half-assing this obviously, but
Yeah.
let's try the shear tool. And then maybe this can get pushed back in some interesting way, more interesting than what I'm doing.
Okay.
I wouldn't outline this. Oops. Come on. There we go. I would, this part here, I wouldn't outline.
Okay.
And then another thing I would do, like when I do this kind of thing. So here's something that's simple, or hopefully. Now, yeah, I'm going to do this in a way that it's not, you know, normally I'm going to kind of draw it and stylize it a little bit, but I'm just going to show you kind of how I'd approach it a little bit, just from a building it perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's find a picture. Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, this is pretty good. Let's say I'm doing, what did I just do? Oh. Ah, damn it, I need a bigger photo. Hang on. This is too small. Oops. There it is. Okay, so this will work. So number one, I'm going to make a lot of decisions on how I use this or I do this. So I'm going to really simplify it really quick. I don't want to fill in there. Just want a line. Just do a black line. And I'm probably just going to treat this, you know, if I was drawing it, I'd be stylizing it and all that. I'm just going to grab, let's go. I'm going to go straight through here and just make up some of this. Josh, can you check and see if that's an SOS signal?
Someone needs help.
Huh?
Someone needs help, and we're just here doing art.
It might be a ship at sea that's at distress. Right? Okay, so I'm making this interior shape. So I'm gonna make this interior shape. I screwed that one up, but that's okay for now. Who cares? And I'm just gonna come all the way down. Where was I? Oh shit, I don't remember where I was. Let's see what I have here. Oops. I'm going to pull this over here. Okay, that's not terrible. I mean, that's not a good thing, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to grab these interiors. I'm going to go up here to object, clipping path. You guys remember the clipping path, correct? Okay, so now those are clipping path. I'm going to make sure they're on top. Arrange them so they go on top. And now I'm just going to go. Actually, I'm going to take this. And now I'm going to go this, and I'm going to go to my Pathfinder. Take this one that punches the one out below, and that should have done it. Yeah. So now I have this basic shape, and then it's the same stuff we've been doing where I go, okay, I'm just going to make a big shape over this. Oops. Get my intersection, get rid of this. And I just start building it like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just pop in these little parts like here, like just these little darks and stuff.
Okay.
And I just pick and choose what I actually want to show and just show what I want to show.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like if you look here, look, this should be a real simple version of this. And then the other thing is like this little stuff I want to get, like the only thing I want to catch. So anyway, I'd go do that. And I know I'm doing it very sloppy. I get it. But here, let's do this. That's too dark to me. So let's go to our transparency. I'm going to pull this down. It's a little better. So I'm changing the lighting a little bit. This side's being lit. I'm changing a little bit. Like this cable thing, like I want to make sure so what I'm looking for are the characteristics of stuff that I can use. So like what I can use there that's going to make it look it's going to make it look a little more interesting. Come on. Get a little fatter. Let's go up here to our stroke and get it a little fatter. That's good. And then you're going to have these verticals, right? So let's say I got my verticals. Option drag. Option drag, so on and so forth. But then the last thing I'm going to do here, just to give it a something, is I'm going to go here. Little ball shape. God, that's annoying. And then I'm just going to give each one of these, that might be too big, maybe not, that little ball shape.
Okay.
Because all it does is it just gives it a little bit of a sense of finish. It's sort of a graphic interpretation, but it's giving me just enough to make it a little more interesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, and then I might even go, yeah, I'm going to take this, I'm going to angle it a little bit this way to make it a little more dynamic. You know, and I'd build the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I might come to here. Oops. Stick it behind this hill or however my composition works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't put it there, but you know, I could also go out here now, pick another shape and go the other way with my gradient. It is really irritating when it does that. Hang on. Why is that locked? Hang on. For some reason my layer's locked. Or my tool is locked off. Hang on. Oh, that's why. I think. No, that's not why. There it is. So I'm going to go the other way with the gradient this way. And I would dial in a nice, this isn't it yet. This should go to 0. Yeah, it is at 0. Because to me, you know, and I could darken up this blue down here and start to get like there's an ocean out there. So that's kind of makes sense with everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'll get that soft edge, like this blue isn't right yet. It's got to go like more, not so saturated. Yeah, it's too much. Let's go to 80. Yeah. Let's go to 100. Still needs to be dialed in, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
And I want a nice smooth transition here. So I would screw around with my gradient tool here, you know, and go, okay, maybe I can move this a little bit. That's too hard edge. Maybe down that way a little. It's a little better. Maybe this comes up a little. And I got to move this again. This needs to come up. So on and so forth, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So just work on that, right?
So it just becomes a little more dynamic.
Okay.
I'm always going to beat you guys up with a little bit of design stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And then if I put this in here, let's say, go into my smoothing tool. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. Remember, you can hit X and it'll knock your I'm going to go a little more orangey here and just see what that looks like. So then I can go a little fatter. And I can go, again, object, path, outline, stroke. Right there. You know, and then I could come in here. A couple of things. I could pull this now. Maybe a little wider towards the viewer. That's sloppy, but you get the point. And then I could go, I could take another shape. And I'm doing this fast, so spend more time on it. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take all these shapes, make them a compound path. Object, compound path, make, select my line, go to Pathfinder, and go punch that out. Now I get my road stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'd have this die behind the hill or whatever, which it's not. There it goes. So let's go blink. That's better. And now we're making big, bold graphic statements, right?
Okay.
And then look, see how my road is behind that now?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Command Y and I can pick it. Because you just can do that with Command Y. I don't have to screw around with it. I'm going to go bring to the front. I'm going to go Command Y again, and it's back in the front. Spanning the globe, Josh. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No. Anything else I should like work on or focus on, and just like make it more dynamic, more detailed?
Well, like this one feels very rigid.
Yeah.
I would, what I'm always trying to do is find a fun, and it takes a while to do this. I get it. Like one thing I would do with this one right off the bat is I would take, let's go on group. And I'd go, first thing I do is go, it's an igloo. I'm going to assign all the line work just a blue color so it feels more icy, right?
Yeah.
So that right there will make it a little more fun. And then I'd probably come in here and go, okay, it's got this outline. Oops. It's got, let's take this into the other one. I'm just going to put it here. This is a bad place to put it, but it's all right. Oops. I'm going to get rid of this for a minute. I don't want this overlap right there, but I would probably make some of these uneven
Okay.
just so it doesn't feel so rigid.
Okay.
And
Like
then,
some angled and stuff, right? Yeah.
yeah, just make it like a little more fun. And then this, I'd probably thin down a little bit. So let's see. Let's take this line. God damn it. Let's take this and this. I'm locking all this stuff off so it stops interfering with me. Okay, that's still grouped. So I'm going to ungroup that. Okay, so there, I'm going to pull this to the front. And then I'm going to go a little thinner on this stroke because then I'm going to go and take my width tool and maybe just pull the width somewhere just so it has some variation of line.
Okay.
Again, the variation of line is just something simple you can do right off the bat. And I'm not even worried about the lighting that much here. I'm just doing it as a stylistic idea. And then I can take this and go, I'm gonna pull it down. Oops. I'm gonna pull it down here. Okay, hang on. I don't know why this thing's being such a pain in the ass. And I'm gonna go for the whole thing. I'm gonna go shape, outline, stroke, and then I'm gonna go up here to Pathfinder again. I'm gonna go unite, and then I'm just gonna go on this interior. Now, for some reason, sometimes you have to go to preview mode, the Command Y, and it'll let me do it in here. Oops, I don't want any of that outside stroke. So delete all this. I'm doing it with the white arrow tool. Why? Because I'm selecting individual things. I don't want that going. And what that should do, let's get rid of this. When I go back to Command Y again, now I just have a nice simple solid. I think I'm going to change this to just a really light, maybe that sort of pinky color. Just a little, just to give it some color, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make sure that this, I want to regroup it again. And then I'm going to go arrange, bring to front. And now I can put this here. Line it up. Right? And it just gives it a little more flavor, right?
Yeah.
And then this thing, wherever you ended up putting it, you got to put it in a smart spot. This isn't the smart spot. This is not a good spot. I might even go back in here if this is just a solid thing here, then I might just come here and go, well, just to break up the ground so it isn't sitting there with a hard edge.
Yeah.
I might just go, and and then come in here, fill it. That's a lousy version, but it's got to go in front of everything too, by the way. That's weird. Hang on. Somehow it locked into that. I don't know why it did that. That's weird. That's weird. It locked to this other thing, which it shouldn't have done. There. Now I should be able to put it on top. Yeah. You know, and I do a smoother thing, but I still want it to feel like it's sitting in whatever it's sitting in, right?
Yeah.
So it's small stuff, but and, you know, it matters. And then this, I just take my smooth tool, and just smooth it out.
Okay.
That's probably fine. It's got this weird point in there. I'd have to get rid of that. And that's still a little too high, maybe a little lower. So on and so forth, right?
Okay.
Okay. Who's this? This is you. You didn't sign your name on it.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. It's
Yeah,
me.
you did. You signed the folder. As long as the folder's signed, it's fine.
Okay.
It's just I get all these things and they go poster assignment. It's like I don't know who this is. Okay, what was this one again? Oh, the donuts.
Yeah.
You got to get that straight jacket to really read.
Yeah, that's the kind of the current struggle right now.
Straight jackets. Well, one thing it's okay. Are these going to be the eyes, these swirls?
Temporary. Probably gonna replace them with sprinkles.
Because I mean, you've got this horrified expression on here already. I'd really push that, right?
I'm kind of thinking of putting like a bite on them. See how the
Oh yeah, right here.
yeah.
The straight jacket thing. Let's look at what straight jacket. It's probably going to bring up really horrible pictures.
I put cartoon straight jacket just to avoid that.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
What's your major?
An animation.
Animation? Okay. Oh, God, you get a lot of bad drawings when you do that. Oh, this one's pretty good. I mean, just for information. Ah,
Sorry.
no, that's not your fault. Wow, you got a lot of shit going on in here.
Yeah.
Are these sublayers? Oh, these are sublayers. Some of them.
Mm-hmm.
I never work in sublayers. Some people like to. I don't like it.
It's not by choice. It just happens.
Well, they're there all the time, but some people will go in and start manipulating the sublayer, which I mean, if it works for them, it's fine. It just doesn't work for me. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, what is the problem? Oh, there it goes.
Ah, perfect.
So this one's pretty simplified.
That's actually
Well,
better.
the main thing you got to do is, and I always work this out. I mean, if you got a Cintiq or a pad or paper or whatever, and with paper, then if I get it right, I just think I take a picture of it, pull it into Illustrator. Let's try this again. Hang on. So it's pretty good. And good thing that's a smart move to just. I usually look at it just the straight away the real thing, but I mean this is fine. So you have this. Let me get my normal pin. Man, anyway. So you have this. I'd probably really push this. And then he has this mouth already, right?
Yeah.
So now I like this little collar. You know, you're going to have to put it below there a little bit, obviously. And one of the main things that's working here is these buckles, right?
Mhm.
because that says straight jacket more than anything. Did he have any legs or anything?
I did have legs in the rough. Probably gonna put that. I might have to change the
I
perspective.
might just
on
do it. The only reason I might do it is I might put the feet just so it sort of ends the jacket. Does that make sense?
Yes, I see what you mean.
It just sort of completes it. So not only has he been straitjacketed, somebody took a bite out of him.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bad day. Maybe put the swirls in there
Yeah.
inside the eyes or something. But I think you can make it work something like that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
If
then this,
anything, yeah.
go ahead.
When I was making the room, I tried to use the perspective tool and got completely lost with it.
I'm going to show you the perspective tool later. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, to be honest with you, it's not the most useful tool in the world. I mean, having said that, if I go online and I go, I don't know, people doing amazing things with the perspective tool in Photo or Illustrator, I'll probably find a bunch of people doing really cool shit that I never thought of. But it's just not. I'm going to show you how to use it, and there's certain things it's actually cool for. Stuff like this, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It just doesn't work. But anyway, does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, because the issue was the straight jacket.
Yeah, so I think you can just sort of work that out, sort of based on something like that. But I really think this buckle idea and the idea of it feeling like, because what it does is it pulls the arms like that, right? And then they buckle it all up. They still use these things? I mean, isn't this like insanely like medieval?
Probably in other countries.
I bet you they still use them here. It would make
You
me
should
crazy
be.
if they put me in one of those things, man.
That's a good idea, Kayla.
What'd she say?
You can have sprinkles falling off like shaking,
Like what?
like he's shaking.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Thank you, Kayla.
Of course.
Okay, so there's that for now. Okay. Do you have any other questions about it?
My issue was just the perspective tool, but that's probably going to be later. Probably need to change the background.
By the way, are you talking about because of this room?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, here's the tool I wanted to show you guys anyway, but let's do it here. So let's get rid of this. Did I lock it? I did. I locked it. So here's this tool, and it's right. Free transform tool. Do you guys see that? This is a weird tool. It's a useful tool, but okay, so if I want to take something, let's say this, okay, and I want to put it in perspective, like simple perspective, right? This is what's weird. You have to grab the edge and start to move it, and then I go Command Option Shift. Wait, why is it not doing it? Oh, I didn't select it. I have to select it, and then see how it's got that weird multi, whatever you call it. I think I made a copy here. Yeah, I did. Hang on. How it's got this weird multi arrow thing. So if I hover over it and I go Command Option, I got to start moving it. Command Option Shift. It'll let me do that. But you have to start moving it. It's the weirdest tool. And then go Command Option Shift, because then I can go. I'm just going to half-ass this.
I've been looking to how to do that. I was like, why is the tool doing that?
So let's just do it gray to make it easy. And then I'm just going to make it easy on myself this way too. Oops. And let's go to darker value. And a little fatter. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. A little fatter. And I don't know why this tool is it's the only one I can think of offhand has that weird, you got to hold 3 things and start moving it first and all this kind of stuff. I don't know why it's like that.
So Illustrator's to like Photoshop, what ZBrush is to Maya, it has like weirder tools to use basic
I think
stuff.
it's because they run out of functions. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like they run out of room for functions. So they go, well, this one's going to be Command Shift Option. You got to start moving it. So it doesn't roll over into some other tool. I'm assuming that's why they do it. And then I'm going to go Command D, 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 D. Now I'm just going to combine all this. Actually, I'm going to take all my, I don't think I need to, but I'm just going to outline the stroke on those. And then I'm just going to group all these together. And then I'm going to pull this over here. Then I'm going to go back to free, whatever it's called, free transform tool. Get my wacky thing, start moving it, Option, Command, Shift. You know, and this one will probably fit right there almost. Yeah, it does. And then I'm going to go, this will fit on the page. I could take this actually. Yeah, it's going a little bit weird. I'll just do it this way for now. Take this one. And then do the same thing. Go to tree transform tool right here. Start to move it. Command Option Shift. Let's say this one. Let's do this different now. Oops. And then I'm going to do something a little different here. Let's see if I can make this work. Oops. Oops. I locked this. Hang on. And let's see if we can do it this way. So now I get a fluorescent lighting overhead, right? Then I'm just going to go reflect tool, boom. Why is that doing that? Hang on. By the way, sometimes if you select things with the white arrow tool, it won't let you do things because it's, for some reason it's giving, oh, that's why. And I'm going to go, it's behind everything. So I'm going to go Command Y. There it is. Select it, bring it to front. And now I could, you know, I could change this up a little bit. Let's say, number one, I'd have to move these over so I don't have a crack in there like that, like that. And then here, maybe I come in and, you know, I'd have to change the lighting up a little bit. Maybe go, oops. A little lighter, you know, whatever my lighting is. This would probably catch more light because it's directly down from the thing. And I could create a pretty simple room like that, right? All we're doing is we're going, and plus, by the way, when you do this tool, and I never use the other stuff on it, which is probably dumb. So when I do this, if I just, okay, so that was, you know, start to move it, and then I go Command Option Shift, and that gives me that. But if I go this way and then I go Option, it gives me this. If I go, let's see, Command, No. It just lifts up one corner or whatever. You know, each of the, you know, command, option, and probably control. Let's see, control. They sort of do a different function. Okay. The command, option, shift is the one that gives you that kind of basic 1-point perspective kind of thing, right?
Oh,
Okay. Does that make sense?
yeah, that actually would make making the room a lot easier now because I was trying to figure out why I couldn't.
Yeah. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. Josh, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you for that because like I was trying to figure out how to do that. And I'm like,
Well, that's all these programs. It's like you want to do something, and that's why we have this discussion. It's like, oh, here's how you do it, right? But I almost never use that perspective tool. It's just it's too limiting. It's cool for there's certain things I would use it for, but you know, it's a very clunky tool in my opinion.
it would definitely help for the shadow. I was making because I literally just copied the color twice, cut it in half, and just made that.
Well, the good thing though is that hopefully like these basic what we're doing basically here, it looks like all you guys are getting. And to me, the line thing we talked about, and then adding color gradient, and then doing a completely Pathfinder based thing. I mean, to me, that's the whole basis of Illustrator. Then you're just piling stuff on top of it. You know what I mean? Then you go, oh, here's the symbols tool. And it's like, oh, cool. I can make this, I can scatter all this stuff around, but that's a fairly simple tool. Like there's not that much to really know about it. You know what I mean? This is the stuff you have to kind of know about. Okay. So let's go. Let me close this. Wait, what? Why do I have? Oh, okay. Where's Emily?
I'm here.
Okay, I remember this. And then we have, what was hanging here?
They were the lights from the store, and it kind of reminded me of the little toys that the cats play with.
I think I'd make sure that I know that those should look like cat toys.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like something simple. Like they don't have to be little mice or anything, but just some simple whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one I think I'd make a little bigger. Okay, so here's from a design perspective, we're starting to get a big space with very little tiny things in it. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I might come in here, maybe all this. I don't know. Hang on. I don't know why the plate is the plate locked.
Oh, I think it might be locked.
Okay. Did I just lose the other plate? Yeah, I did. Okay. I might either do this whole, I'm gonna get rid of this. Hang on. It's driving me crazy. I'm on the wrong layer. Hang on.
It should be in the background or reference later. I don't remember which one.
Okay, so now let's make sure this is locked. This is locked. I might make this a little more prominent.
Mm-hmm.
I might even make this cat a little bigger on there. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just gives it a little more. And maybe you could shrink this down a little bit. That way I can maximize the cata. Same thing here. I think I just overall get this one bigger also. Yeah, just make it a little more prominent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing, because this kind of thing, I love this kind of like silhouette-y stuff. But what I might do is go, what color can I pick? Pick this color or this color. Then I'm going to go. Then I'm going to put the, oops, damn it. See, this is what drives me crazy. Hang on. I'm going to take this custom color I just made. Wait a minute. Yeah, I screwed up. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to go over to my swatch palette right here. And I'm just going to take this and drag it in here. And now it lives right there. It'll make it easier for me when I'm trying to do line and stuff. So get rid of that, do this, do that. I think that's it. And then I might just give it a little simple line here or there. It's not the exact line I want, but you get the, hopefully you get the point. And then maybe here. And it's not really to outline anything. It's just kind of like, gives it another little graphic interior. See, this one's a little fat now that I'm looking at it. And then,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And then let's do this. Now, this would depend on where you want to put your light or whatever, but I'm just going to, I always like to, well, not always, but this can also help me describe the form a little bit. And again, we're not making something photo real here, obviously, but like I like to push that back arm back. I'm going to go to my Pathfinder, do overlap or whatever it's called. Oops, what happened? Oh, I know why. This stuff's grouped, so I'm going to ungroup it. Sometimes you have to ungroup it more than once if you have multiple groups in there. Which is weird because I think I just did. Yeah. And then this, now I should be able to do it. Overlap, yeah. Then I'm going to take this again. Maybe just go a hair darker. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Another thing I might do, and it doesn't need this, but I'm just screwing around. Let's make this, that's good. And let's go a little fatter with that. Doing the same thing. Gonna make this I'm gonna outline my stroke. Make them a compound path. Pull this over here for a second. Just grouped, hang on. Back to Pathfinder, intersection. Give them a little stripe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you
just
know,
more detail, I guess, in the.
it's not really
cats.
detail. I don't like to think of it detail. I think of it as just breaking up the shapes a little bit, right?
Okay.
And just giving it a little more, like when you know, and look, sometimes just a total silhouette can work too. Okay. But whenever I look at something, I just kind of go, what does it need? You know what I mean? Do I need to break it that shape? And if I need to break it the shape, you don't want to go to the idea of detail. If you've been in any of my other classes, I always say I hate that word. And the reason is because once you go to detail, this is what everybody does. You go, yeah, you can put a little more detail, and then they go, okay. And they get all stiff and uptight, and it's like, that's not what I mean. You know what I mean? And I'd argue, and I've always argued this, I don't think there is any such thing as detail. Does that make sense? There's no such thing. Like when you're talking about a painting, you go big shape, secondary shape, tertiary shape, your smallest shapes, and you're out. Okay. Your brain is never really going to me, and my brain doesn't anyway. I'm indicating detail. I'm indicating things that make people think they're seeing more than they are, but it's not really detail. Is that, you know, if you go in and paint detail, quote unquote, like really paint it in there, your painting will actually look super amateurish. Does that make sense? So what we're doing here is we're just going, well, hey, I want a couple, some shapes to break it up. Now, a lot of people go, oh, I'll start drawing all the fur. It's like, that's not going to work. Like what big moves can we make? Because this is very graphic, and I like that it's very graphic. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Like I love that it's very graphic. That's what I love about Illustrator, is this sort of graphic shape thing. You know what I mean? And then I'm just building into my graphic shape. See how it pops a little bit now? A little more? And then these probably get a little more value.
Okay.
I like the palette. Like I like these colors up here. And this guy might not need anything. So on and so forth. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
It's good. I love graphic, simple shapes like that. I love graphic, simple shapes, period. All right. Ooh, I like that. Oh, dude, you know what I'm going to give you for this?
What's that?
I got a halftone set.
Oh, nice.
You
Yeah.
got these halftones. I'm going to put them
I
up.
love that.
I was supposed to put my brushes. Was I supposed to put my brushes up last week?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to put stuff up. I'm going to start putting
Okay.
stuff up. I'll do it. I'll start it hopefully today. That looks cool.
Well, thank you. I'm really worried.
You just freehand drew it and came up with it?
Yeah.
Man, your skill set's just constantly moving forward. You know?
Thank you.
I mean, that's a pretty balanced drawing. And it's got the right flavor. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's some, what's this one here down here?
Oh, that was just my colored comp.
Oh, that's great. I was just about to nail you. I go, you didn't make this up. Here it is right here. What was the premise? I forgot. Oh, monster macaroons. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what you should look at? What do you want to do?
In terms of what?
Work.
I want to go into like animation. I want to do like background design stuff.
Okay. Look, I'm going to find something here real quick. Because I love this. This is one thing I love in Illustrator is all this cool shit you can use. Actually, I'm going to do an illustration for my girl. I'm doing a new logo because she's, I do all that stuff for the restaurant, but
Yeah.
she's moving, expanding. She started doing Frozens now, and it's been off the hook, right?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So now she's going into shipping them like country nationwide.
Nice.
So I go, I want to do, and everything I've done with her has a little bit of an etched look because I've got an etching tool set in here.
Yeah.
And And I used to do it without that, and it was such a pain in the ass. It's so much easier. But anyway, I'm going to do this for that. I'm going to do a very, very just straightforward, but really etched looking logo. You know what I mean? Because I think it'll look a little more upscale and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, what I was going to say was, that sound makes me crazy, by the way.
What sound?
That when your computer's not working right.
No.
It's like a locked door. Every time I go to a door and it's locked, it instantly makes me furious.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Hang on. Like this is, they usually have some examples of this up here. God, they've had a bunch of examples of something that really reminds me of this. I got to pull all these up. I'll give them to all you. I'm going to give these to you guys all of my have, all the sets I have, which is quite a bit. Wait, maybe it's here. Hang on. Okay. There it is. God, this stuff pops up on my feed constantly. Now I'm looking for it. It's sort of a little bit, you know, a little bit of that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's cool.
Like this. I love that stuff.
all the-
And then, huh?
Like all the halftones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
that's
just
cool.
gives it as soon as I saw your drawing, I'm like, holy shit, that looks like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I would love to be able to like make it like something like that.
Oh, you can. It's easy. You know, like that.
Yeah.
And they've had some, this is cool.
Nice.
I like that it has the term hard drinker in it. There used to be a bar in Norwalk.
Yeah.
I can see it, but I can't remember what street it was on. It was right on the corner. It was like a little crap hole bar like they used to have. They used to have a lot of those in Norwalk. And they had a banner. It was so weird. It had a banner. This is probably in the 70s. It had a banner over the door and it said, for the hardcore, open at 6 a.m.
Wow.
They opened at 6. So you could wander out of there at 2 a.m. crocked and come back probably still half crocked and start again.
Wow.
That's like, that is hardcore.
That's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. You know, here's another one. This is kind of a good example. Only this doesn't have the halftones, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll give you the halftones. They're super easy to use. I'll go over those. God damn, we're at Wednesday. I keep forgetting we're Wednesday. But what I would do is I'd just go in, you know, block it out, right?
Mhm.
Like literally, I'd block out this whole shape here, probably, you know, and then there's going to be a nice little mix of, looks like you figured it all out here. And the color is good too. What are they doing with their hands?
They're supposed to be like kind of interlocking to push each other back.
There's something funny about that posture. I don't know what it is, but there's something funny about it.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say stuff on it, but I actually think it's just pretty cool. You know, in these buildings, you just block them out. It's like we've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
was looking at some of like the Powerpuff Girl stuff.
oh, totally.
That's just like super clean and yeah.
God, I love the design of that show.
Yeah, it's so good.
Plus, it was a great show. It was funny.
Hmm.
And before I go anywhere with this, I'd probably, I'd just do. Oops. Damn it, I hate it when it does that. I block these things out in a real logical way. That's how I always try and do it. Oh, I'm in Photoshop. Anyway, I take that and I just knock that out and bang, I got the building. Repeat the windows. Maybe use that other tool, put them in perspective if I need to, and I'm done. Right?
Yeah.
Like all this stuff will be super. I mean, I want to do this now. You know what I mean? Whenever I see cool ones, almost all of them in this class, I end up wanting to do them myself.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any, go. Yeah.
Okay.
What
Sounds good.
have you been doing with your drawing? Like, are you drawing from life?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of that. I mean, it's a little difficult right now, but yeah, I've been trying to do more.
I'm finding some pretty good spots now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're out here, but there's a place down Citrus Plaza down here as an outdoor eating area, and then I went to God, where did I just go to? Oh, Farmers Market in LA.
Yeah.
That's always one of my favorite spots, but it's there's people. They're out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I know it's driving into LA, but I mean, I love Farmers Market, like the original Farmers Market. I love that little area. I wish they'd never put the Grove there. It kind of irritates me, but
Right.
especially it's weird too, because anyway, they ripped. People go, oh, well, they just put it over there, and I go, no, they didn't. They ripped out a whole bank of shops over here. Kibb's Toyland used to be over across the parking lot. Now they had to move it in over here. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what I do love about it is when you're inside the actual farmers market, it feels just like it did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And there's super interesting people there to draw. I don't know why. I just think the area is just interesting. But there's always interesting people there to draw, which is
Right.
that's kind of trippy in itself,
I think LA just draws that crowd.
Huh?
LA just like draws that crowd in.
I think that you got to remember you're near a lot of creative industries there.
Yeah.
You're near a bunch of very moneyed areas. Third
Mhm.
Fairfax is a very Jewish area, so you have a different cultural flavor. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got Cantor's Deli over there. You got Farmers Market. You got all these like things that tie into a community it's a unique community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the people just tend to be interesting people. Like half the time when I talk to people, when they come over, they go, hey, what are you doing? Blah, blah. I start talking to these people and they're super interesting people. You know what I mean? Like I go, what do you do? And they go, oh, I work over at CBS and I do this. And I'm I don't know, a lighting designer or something, and you're just like, oh, that's cool, or just something completely not have anything to do with that. They're just interesting people,
Right.
And I just love, man, that's one of my favorite places to draw right now. Or Felipe's would have been great, but Felipe's is closed right now. But Felipe's, you get a great mix of people. You know what I mean? You used to get, I don't know if I've said this before, you used to get a lawyer, a judge, a guy who's a clown with Barnum and Bailey Circus and they're in town, a homeless guy, drunk, you know what I mean? It was just all over the place.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting at the same table, basically, if you want, you consider the big communal tables and just, it's a great spot, man. Alvera Street's a great spot.
Oh yeah, that was fun when we went.
Yeah, Alvera Street's great, but put that stuff into practice, man. That day-to-day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I don't know what you're doing, but what you're doing, your work keeps elevating, like really exponentially. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about this. I saw it first in, I don't know why, but I remember that in 107. That seems to be where you took a big leap. But ever since then, it just keeps going. Okay, which tells me you're doing the work or something, because I don't think there's any other way for that to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're stylizing, but you're not, it doesn't feel like you're putting the cart before the horse.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people start stylizing when they don't really draw very well. And you're like, you got to get the drawing thing down, but you're sort of, I have two students that are kind of doing this that are sort of, I don't know if you have a sort of creative point of view already, like a while ago, because usually I go, well, screw that, get your drawing down. And every now and then you get somebody who's sort of the drawing and their stylization is sort of moving up at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that's pretty rare, actually. Okay. I have one of the students doing that, and she just left and went over to Cal State Long Beach.
Oh, nice. For their art program?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's really good over there.
I've heard some good things about it. It's very
Yeah.
impacted, but I mean, you could say that about any
Yeah.
art.
Right.
But yeah, I've heard for years that it's a pretty good program from what I understand.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Kayla, what are you thinking? Oh, okay, good. I remember this. That perspective right there is funky. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So it's going to come out, I think, like that and then roll in, I think. So right now it's feeling like it's a very narrow ship, like that thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I noticed that, and then I was like, oh, I need to go back and think of that.
Yeah, that's easy. What do you think?
Pretty good. I think the biggest challenge for me is going to be figuring out how to simplify and stylize like the water, like the waves splashing.
Well,
'Cause I
that'd
was
be
looking-
fun.
Yeah.
Well, go look at
I
Yeah.
have reference. I mean, I looked at that, so.
Okay. Well, just get inspired by something, obviously, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then how are you going to handle the clouds? Do you know?
Not quite sure yet. I'm more focused or more worried about the water because I'm probably going to be using a lot of the gradient tool. But
Yeah, really use that gradient tool in a really smart way, because there's one thing that I'm always weird about the gradient tool. People overuse it.
Mhm.
Like you can really overuse that tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you use it smartly, like that book, that Don't Feed the Bear book I showed you guys, he uses a gradient tool really smart. You know, it doesn't feel cheesy. Like he just lets things fade with it and fades things off to soften up the endings and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff's great. Okay.
Mhm.
I might. I curved that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get a little more dynamism on it. And then here you could just put some simple shapes and all that. Trying to see if that should go. That's not right either. Anyway, you'll figure that out. I'm not worried about that. And then the clouds, a lot of times people do this sort of, I do it all the time too. You kind of drag them out and do a hard bottom.
Mhm.
That's one way you could do it. Then you can take your warp tool and you can, twist them and things if you want to do that. I mean, obviously those could be whatever you want. The bottom part can get a little bit of darker value. But I mean, how you want to stylize is the problem. The only reason I focus in on clouds
Mhm.
is a lot of students, when they put a cloud in there, they don't really think it through.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They just sort of, I mean, you've probably seen this. You see it a lot with digital painting. Like the clouds just look like big cotton balls or something. You know what I mean? Like there's no structure to them. And it's like that has structure. And in this case, it's a graphic structure, right?
Mhm. Do you have any like examples of what I should try to aim for, or?
I can, I'm sure I can find it. And I think what I'm going to show you is just exactly what I just said, because it's pretty common.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean do it that way. I'm just saying, make sure
Yeah.
just make sure they're very designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found it right off the bat. That action is same idea. There's a million ways to do it, but hang on. God damn it. Why does Google tell you something's large when it's not? Now, what I like about this one, see, there's kind of that idea right there.
Okay.
What I love about this one is he used that rough brush right there and sort of got a nice little rough sort of painterly mark on it.
Mhm.
And then he reflected all this really warm stuff down in the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think if you look at his stuff though, which is interesting, which is smart, like, look, here's another one. Oh, it's the same article. He reused them. See it?
Okay.
And he reused them here, right? He pulled them up a little bit. This one, he made a big puffy one, but and then he's got some of these mixed in with this big puffy thunderhead idea, right?
Hmm.
Which is super smart. That's what you want to do.
Are you gonna? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Are you gonna go over how to do like some texturing and stuff like that?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I noticed that he has some of that in there, and I'd really like to add that in.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff just that's very simple here, or in any, whatever you're doing. And I'm going to really dive into this a lot more. Okay.
Mm.
But let's go, because I'm just going to use a standard brush for this. But a lot of that texturing stuff, oops, God damn it. We were off for like a week. You realize that?
Yeah.
That's like a little much right in the beginning of the term to me. Actually, I hate them that straight. Hang on. Well, I'm in Photoshop. Sorry. Let's get rid of this. And let's just pretend this is a tree. A really crappy looking tree. Good enough. And let's say I've got sort of like what we were doing earlier. Maybe I've got let's just give it a blue sky for the hell of it. I just got to give it some kind of color in the background.
Mhm.
That's good enough. I'm going to darken it. It's too light. I should actually make this sunsetty, but I'm not going to. But anyway, oops. I'm going to give you a bunch of brushes this week. And a lot of times, for something like this, like let's say I go, do our usual thing where I go, I'm going to put part of this into shadow. And I could do this the same way, actually, but I'm not going to. Let's just go. And then if I wanted to get on here, and let's say that, it was a sunsetty day, even though I didn't do that. but let's say it was. I'm going to go into my brushes palette. And they actually have a few that are pretty good. Like if you go, okay, so if you go into brushes,
Mhm.
you can go open brush library, and I'm going to go to artistic and or charcoal pencil.
Okay.
So these are just different palettes, and you can add into them. I'm going to give you some to add into them. And this right here is a nice texture. You can see it.
Yeah.
Oops. Let's pick this. Oops. This. Shrink it down. And then that's way too bright. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to actually come in here and see if I can choose. And let's just try this. Not enough. And I can start to build all these textural ideas just with textured rough brushes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And a lot of it, sometimes what I'll do is like a couple times when I was showing a student how to do those, you know, those buttes or whatever they're called, like in Monument Valley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I actually went and we took one of those out, image traced just the texture, pulled the texture off and popped it onto the thing, and it got a very graphic interpretation of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when I give you a wide variety of brushes, you're going to have the opportunity to really kind of dial these in. And then I'm going to show you how to make your own.
Okay.
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 But does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I could do that.
And there's some in here that are actually pretty good. I'd have to reshape this.
And if I wanted to like have the texture on the edge, and if it's overlapping over what I want, can I just use the same like outline stroke to cut it off and have a clean?
Yeah, you can go outline stroke. That's a good point. And now it's a shape. So now I could come in here and go, if I wanted to fine tune it a lot more, which I would, you know, I don't want all this up here. See how now it's scattering a little better?
Yeah.
And I could come down here and go, I don't want this. And I can start to sort of dial it in a little bit. And it starts to look a little Ivan early. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then what was I just, oh, so you'll see this kind of, even though these weren't done that way, they look like that. Hang on. Oh. There's one that I usually can find pretty easily. It's so weird. Like some of these, oh, here's one. I mean, that's just basically the same idea with the brush chunked up more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you basically have two values with just a rough swipe over it. And then to your point, yes, you could outline it and eliminate things and shape it and do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like if you look at like this one, there's a lot of that feels like it almost might be image traced.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one I'm going to do for my girlfriend's thing, I'm going to use etching brushes, but then I'm going to go in and freehand like the foliage and stuff. And then I'll take a rough eraser and I'll like erase out rough edges of the leaves and things like that and sort of get that to look a little bit natural because I'll freehand it. And then the other stuff I'll build with the pen tool and it'll be a combination of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll show it to you when I get it done. Okay, I don't care about this. Okay. All right. You have any other questions?
No, I think that's good for now. Thank you.
Really pick bitch and type for that. Yeah.
Type? Yeah.
And it should say, yeah, too long for too little payoff. I was going to say something stupid. That's fine. You guys get plenty of dose of stupid from me. All right. Who's this?
That's mine.
Okay. I remember this. These got to really look cool, man. Really stylized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like watch this and you could clean this up and, you know, make sure that they really are simple. The other thing that's really cool about this is you can get some really cool colors going on in here.
Yeah.
You know, you could really push the colors a little bit if you want, like go with what they actually look like. But so many sea animals just have such beautiful colors. You know what I mean? Other than that, and same thing here, the way I build this in here, and I'm, you know, build this all as one shape, that face, build the hair as one shape, and then start building into those shapes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's again, it's a nice balanced drawing, but now we want to keep it, you know, and is this just going to be pure shape, no line?
Yeah, pure. And
Okay.
I want to put textures on it too.
Oh yeah,
Or-
great. Well, we're going to
yeah,
start talking about
textures or-
textures.
Yeah.
Oh, probably next week, probably, actually. I just got to look at my notes, but I think, yeah, because textures, it's not that, I'm going to give you guys a lot of, basically what I just showed you is a simple way to do texture. I'm going to give you some gouache brushes, this thing called a printer's toolkit, halftones, I think I have some ink brushes, and then I have etching brushes, and then a lot of them. Okay. You're going to have more than you need in here with all that stuff. And again, I don't know if I said this, but one of the things, hey, Kayla, where'd she go? What is that you put over the camera?
It's just my little camera cover.
Oh, it's weird because it always looks like you put a pillow or something over it. Like you're trying to
Like I'm
smother.
smothering.
Yeah, you're trying to smother all of this. Or just me, I guess. Isn't the aquarium in the Pacific open again?
Yeah. I think it's only open to members for now. Something like that.
It's like San Diego's, I think it's, wait, San Diego Zoo? Maybe it's the LA Zoo. I think LA Zoo might be open again. They're like, you got to
Yeah,
make
but-
reservations and you got to do this. And it's like, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. I have a question though for is there a way to wrap things like for the girl? I was gonna make zigzag lines, but I wanted them to curve around the shirt.
Mm,
So instead of
yeah.
like freehanding it.
There, let me think about that. The best way to do that. Yes, there kind of is, but I don't want to do it with the way I'm thinking right now. I think it's a pain in the ass. So I'd rather make it smarter. Hang on. And I'll try and remember that for how do I do it with my for Monday.
Okay.
So Monday. I hate writing with pens that I don't want to write with. Oh, here we go. So you want to wrap something over the form, right?
Yeah.
One thing, let me try that. I want to try it because there's a couple of new tools in here that I want to see if it works good for that. New tools or fairly new tools. Okay. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I think that's it for now.
What do I have? Did I already go through everybody? I'm gonna put the assignment up for Wednesday, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the date. Okay. I'm doing this because you guys are just starting on this, and I want you guys to do a really good job. So I always want to give you guys a lot of breathing room. Okay. And I like being in a project. I think it's fun. And I definitely want to give you guys enough breathing room. So that's just going to be, I'll probably change that date. It's not going to be done by Wednesday. Okay. I just want to get it on the thing so I don't forget, or maybe I'll push it out another week after that. And because I can always rein it back in or push it back out. Okay. So I just want you to understand, like, oh, you got to get done. But I really don't want to do that. I actually want to do some of the work in class and have conversations and help you make sure that you get a really good piece. Okay. You should always shoot for a portfolio piece. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out that way. That's fine. It's just whenever you get a creative project, I just think you should do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're just getting into that mindset, you know, because some people go, well, I just started. I go, I get it, but just shoot for it. You ain't going to probably get a whole lot right now, but it gets you into the mindset of thinking about finished work and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Any other questions? It's always weird to me because it feels like this class ends at 1 and it's like 3:11. It's just weird to me. It's like a weird time warp class. Okay. I only have 6. I should have more than that. Okay. So Monday, if I haven't seen these by Monday, I just want these pushed along. Does that make sense? I might just put it up as a 10-pointer, and because I need to see everybody on there. And if you're not throwing work out there, then it needs to get penalized if you're not doing anything. Does that make sense? So really the only parameters for Monday work is I want it pushed forward. Does that make sense? Start building your shape, start building your color. If you need to refine your drawing or whatever, where you're at, but I want to see it pushed along by Monday. So it's just do your work, and it's an easy 10-pointer, right? And then I'll put up the assignment and I'll put it for following Wednesday out 2, right? Times 2. And then we'll have some time to work on my class. What else? No questions? Josh?
No,
Where's the spots to go drawing in Norwalk now?
I haven't.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't really gone out to draw like that.
You know what? I'm going to go because I haven't been in Norwalk in forever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there and draw.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know if there's like a whole lot. There's hardly anyone here right now. I hardly see anyone.
Really?
Yeah, I'll take like my dog out to walk and stuff. It's like a handful of people, but yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. There's some parts of that town, man, that still look exactly the same. It's totally weird to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
by do you know where the Tasty Freeze used to be?
Tasty Freeze.
It used to be on Shoemaker and Rosecrans.
Yeah. Yes.
Now it's, I think, like probably a Mexican hole in the wall place. It's got a big A-framey kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like that little bank of shops, like right behind that, it's like a real estate agent and like a wig shop or something. That stuff looks exactly, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like it still looks just like it did in the 70s. Trip. Anyway, okay, guys, I'll let you guys go if you have any problems. Hey, Kayla, did you send me an email or something?